Detroit, a city once revered as the Paris of the Midwest. A city of industry, a city of hard work, and a city that offered the American dream to almost every person from every background. This city gave us Motown, the music that provided a soundtrack to generations. This city, the city known as the Motor City, helped drive the world. It gave the street style. This city. Well, some say that city is gone. Some say that is the city of the past. We say, not so fast. This city isn't going anywhere. This city has taken punches and been called the worst of names. But this city is a fighter. This city is on the precipice. This city is Detroit. This city is ready to roar.
All right, you're looking at Ford Field, home of the Lions and home of Sunday Night Football on Local 4.
Are you ready for some football, Kimberly?
Yeah.
Well, hello and welcome everyone to This is Ready to Roar here in beautiful downtown Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit's comeback is very real, and now it's the Lions' turn to roar.
And they have to do that this Sunday. They welcome Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos this Sunday, and I guess the Broncos are one of the best teams in the league.
That they are, but there's a lot to prove this weekend and a lot on the line.
I guess we should say the pressure is on, but in just a few moments, we'll hear from the man himself, Bill Ford Jr., about the future of the city of Detroit.
Yeah, and speaking of the city of Detroit, what's behind the resurgence downtown and how and why will the momentum keep going? I'll bring you that story, but first, back to the game.
That's right, Sunday Night Football, Lions versus the Broncos. This is the first Sunday night game the Lions have played since, what, 2012? And this is the first time in the history of Ford Field that the Lions have hosted a Sunday night game, and that's pretty big for a home opener.
Yeah, and the Lions are actually prominently featured this season on national television. They're scheduled to appear in 6 games on the national stage. 2 Monday night games, twice on Thursday, one of those being the Thanksgiving Day game, of course, and their game in London on November 1st, and then this Sunday night.
All right, that's a whole lot to remember. Let's just get this one in the win column, right? Well, this season, with high expectations for the Lions, we have them, and the Lions have surprised many because they're 0-2 so far this season with losses at San Diego, and then last week in Minnesota. Boy, that hurt. Injuries have definitely affected the team, but so have mistakes.
Yeah, the Lions, though, can get back on track in a big way if they can find a way to beat the Broncos Sunday night. That would certainly make a lot of the fans happy, and I'm sure the bosses would be happy as well.
And you know, when we speak of bosses and the Lions, you're talking about the Ford family, which has owned the Lions since November 22nd, 1963. So it's safe to say that the Lions are part of Bill Ford Jr. and have always been, right? He's been instrumental in part of the team's operations for many years. There's a lot of excitement around Sunday Night Football, putting Ford Field, the city of Detroit, in the spotlight. Bill recalls when everyone thought putting Ford Field downtown, well, that was a big mistake.
I was told by many people that I respected, don't do it. Don't go to Detroit.
No,
it
really?
won't work. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the theme typically went like something like this. Your fans won't follow you, particularly the fans that you have in Oakland County. The police support will be spotty at best. Your fans won't feel safe parking, and they won't stay before or after games. They'll just leave. And so I had a lot of people that I respect give me that advice. And so it was kind of a leap of faith to go downtown.
So what are they saying now?
Oh, it's fantastic. Are you kidding? I mean, we're the only stadium in the country that's hosted a Super Bowl, a Final Four, and a Frozen Four. And we've had WrestleMania, we've had great concerts. It's been fantastic. And so, and then, you know, and during the Super Bowl, the NFL, I think, was kind of skeptical in coming to Detroit. Yeah. The buzz afterwards was, this was the best Super Bowl we've ever had. So it was great.
And that has to make you feel good. I mean,
well, it does, and it makes the whole city feel good. I mean, they were blown away by things like the DIA, the Henry Ford Museum. You know, other cities don't have these things.
Can you feel an energy that's ignited in the city of Detroit? I mean, is it something that we want so badly? Or are there really pockets of resurgence, rebirth?
Yeah, I mean, Carmen, in my lifetime, I've never seen the city this vibrant. You know, prior to the riots, I did everything in the city as a little boy, but then the riots kind of changed everything, and it was a long, slow decline, and we were all looking for pockets of rebirth, and we could always point to things, but it didn't lead to anything more often. But this time, it's really real. And we see it in so many ways. All the young people who we hire now at Ford, 5 or 6 years ago, they would have lived in the suburbs. Now they all want to live in the city.
What do you think is behind that? What's the incentive?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, there was so much negative news for so long on the city that it just, it really pervaded everything. But, you know, getting through bankruptcy, getting the DIA deal together, we started to get some positive momentum. And then quietly, there were people, as you know, who were doing things during the worst of times to get the city back. And all of a sudden, people started paying attention. And the word got out, particularly among young people, that there was fun stuff happening in the city, and the city was starting to be a very cool place. And whether it's, you know, and now with all the new bars and the new restaurants, it's really becoming vibrant. I love it.
You can't talk about the history of Detroit without talking about the history of Ford Motor Company. They've been intertwined. Mm-hmm. How important a role does Ford play in this new Detroit?
Well, we play a role in a couple ways. First of all, we're a big employer for citizens of Detroit. In fact, you know, we're perhaps the biggest, or certainly one of the biggest employers of people who actually live in the city. But secondly, we've supported institutions throughout the city for many, many years, whether it's the hospitals or the schools or the museums, and you know, we continue to do that. And so, because you can't have an unhealthy Detroit and have a healthy metropolitan area. You just can't. And so the stronger the city is, the stronger our company and our community is.
Let's talk about attracting the kind of talent that Detroit, I mean, when you think of major cities that attract young people who have ideas, who would like to start new businesses, you know, it's East Coast, it's West Coast. How do you get them to come to Michigan?
It's easier than it used to be. You know, 5 years ago, it was a tough sell. And you had to show them everything but Detroit. You had to talk about, you know, how great the school systems were in the suburbs, all the things there were to do in the suburbs. Northern Michigan, what a great place it's, you know, is to go in the spring, summer, and fall, and in the winter too. But Detroit, you know, we might have taken them to a game, and that would be about it. Now it's very different. Now the buzz nationally is there's a lot of startup activity in Detroit, a lot of young people, a lot of opportunity in Detroit. If you're young and have ambition and entrepreneurial spirit, you have almost a clean sheet here that you can work with, unlike other cities where so much has already been done.
Ford is helping draw young talent with its TechStars mobility program.
And they, you know, had thousands of applicants from which they chose 10 companies to come to Detroit. But what was interesting was, so I've been down there and met with TechStars and talking to the young companies. All of them came from outside this area. And the thought was they'd come here, be part of a entrepreneurial community, and then go back to where they came from. Many of them were deciding to relocate here. They loved it here. They loved the energy in the city. They loved the support they got from not just TechStars, but from the community. And they saw opportunity here that they don't see elsewhere. And if you think about it, we have more trained engineers in Michigan than any other state. We have a huge customer base here in the Ford, GM, Chrysler, and also all the Tier 1 suppliers that are all huge users of technology. So if you're a young tech firm, what better place to be than Detroit? And they're starting to understand that.
And the buzz about Detroit is coming from all over. My conversation with Bill Ford will continue a little later in the show. In fact, he shares with me what it was like to get a call from Steven Spielberg. Could you imagine that? About an honor bestowed upon the likes of President Obama and President Clinton, so stick around for that.
Indeed. Well, we know there is a lot more work that needs to be done, but Detroit is definitely thriving.
How can we tell? Businesses are moving into the city. The weekends, oh, they're packed with events and games and entertainers.
That's right, and construction is well underway to make downtown even busier. A new area known as the District really has the city buzzing. Work is already underway for the new Red Wings arena, but it's just the beginning. This model helps bring the vision and scope of this massive project into focus. 45 blocks of development, $1.8 billion in new investment.
But I think because it's so bold, I think that's interested a lot of people around the country to say, I don't know what's going on in Detroit, but it sure sounds like it's good and I want to be a part of it.
The new Little Caesars headquarters will rise between the Fox and Fillmore theaters. Between them, Columbia Street with a pedestrian mall and new retail. Near the DAC, a Wrigley Field-style bleacher complex allowing fans to party and peer over the wall for a game.
And it becomes a huge party area, so we'll be able to have functions and group sales and things like that in this building.
To the south of the arena, a new luxury hotel. West and north of the arena, up near the Masonic Temple, 12 blocks of retail and residential to be known as Cass Park Village. In all, 6 different development zones, and investors are looking to get in on the project.
The feelers have come from China. The feelers have come from Los Angeles. The feelers have come from retail outlets in New York. So it's a little bit of everything and a wide variety of retailers and also some developers that are interested in putting up residential.
The world is taking notice of Detroit, including Sir Richard Branson, who flew into town on the first Virgin Atlantic flight to Detroit earlier this year.
We're an entrepreneurial airline, an entrepreneurial company, and we hope to play our part in really helping the mayor make this city absolutely great again.
Wearing a Detroit Hustles Harder shirt, he showed interest in further investment in the D.
We would love it if we could find the right site for a Virgin Hotel in Detroit.
We'll talk, sir.
Long empty and struggling old landmarks are coming back to life, like this one, the Book Building. It's the latest purchase by Dan Gilbert and Bedrock Real Estate. Gilbert is promising to turn it into a showplace even tourists will be excited to see. In all, Gilbert owns 80 downtown Detroit buildings.
John, what's it like to be back home? Very special to me.
Famous Detroiters are returning home to help revive the city, like fashion designer John Varvatos, who opened his store on Woodward with a premiere-style party.
It's pretty special to be part of the restart of Woodward Avenue, and a street that I kind of grew up spending time on, from Hudson's and the music stores here, and to be part of kicking it off with Bedrock, and that's an incredible feeling.
The who's who of Detroit showed up to celebrate his Woodward boutique, including his friends Alice Cooper, Dan Gilbert, Justin Verlander, and Kate Upton.
I'm excited, I'm honored, and mostly I'm excited for Detroit, excited for John. He's brilliant, his brand is fantastic, and he's come home.
That's Grammy Award-winning singer and songwriter Michael Bolton. For 3 years, he and his film crew have been working on a documentary about Detroit's comeback.
The insistence that that is what America's supposed to be about is going on here in Detroit in such a powerful way.
Definitely big things popping in
I can't
Detroit.
wait to see this.
That's right. And you can actually get a sneak peek at Bolton's documentary, Gotta Keep Dreaming, at the Fox Theater next month. There will also be a sneak preview in Los Angeles in December before it makes the film festival rounds.
Oh, exciting. I'm going to put that on my bucket list. It's been 23 seasons since the Lions last won a playoff game, all the way back, and I was here, Kimberly, 1991.
Yeah, they made it to the postseason 7 times since then, but they've come up short every single time.
Well, last year they looked poised to beat the Cowboys in Dallas, but it was a questionable call that left a lot of fans scratching their heads, and there was another playoff loss. So what was it like to have that feeling of playoff victory? Well, Bernie Smilovitz is here with a couple of guys that can explain that. Bernie?
All right, Carmen, thank you much. We're here with 2 illustrious members, former members of the Lions, but always a Lion at heart. Eddie Murray, former kicker, and the offensive lineman, the big man, they call him Lomas Brown. Talk to me about Sunday night, an 0-2 start. How do you dig a team out of a situation like that? National TV staring you in the face.
Well, they should have all the motivation to, hopefully play better than they've had in the past 2 weeks. It just seems like they're having some growing pains, really, with the offense and defensive line. They've kind of gone the addition through subtraction. We all know the subtraction with the people that have left here.
Right.
But as far as being motivated, how can you not get motivated for Sunday Night Football?
Well, many years ago, an NFL coach said to me, the only way you can win in this league is an offensive line and a defensive line. And if you're suffering on both of those spots, it doesn't matter who you've got in the backfield. that's where it's all won and lost is up front. And I've heard that they win it in the trenches, but it really is truly true if you've watched these last 2 weeks.
No, it really is, Bernie. And like you said, it affects not only the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive side of the ball. We've seen teams sustain drives against the Lions that we wouldn't have seen last year. And right now, our offensive line, it's just been a sieve of itself. So, you know, unless we shore those areas up, then we won't be able to sustain any drives or get teams off on third down. And this is going to turn into a disastrous year.
What would Wayne Fonts say with an 0-2 start in a national TV game staring him in the face?
We still got time.
Yeah,
There's still time left on the clock. We can bail ourselves out of this.
Wouldn't Wayne say that after 15 games?
He would.
At 0-15?
He goes, I got one more game to save my job.
Yeah. He was a character. Quick start for the Lions. Is this like very important with a home crowd and that stadium being pumped up?
I think it's pivotal for them, really, for this game.
Yeah.
Number one, because of the fact that it's the home opener for them, because they've gotten the first 2 games away. So it's important for them to get the crowd behind them.
Yeah, I think the onus has to be on the offense, and the reason why I'm saying that, their offense is going to be their best defense. You got to keep Peyton on the sideline watching.
Absolutely.
That's the best defense against them. So those guys are going to have to run the ball. They're going to have to run it. They're going to have to establish the run against Denver and maintain the run throughout the game, mix in passes. But unless they maintain it, unless they keep Peyton on that sideline, I think Peyton will pick our defense apart.
Emotionally, when you would face a team when you guys were playing with that kind of I mean, this is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, there's no question. So would you be more pumped up? Would you guys like say, oh my God, we're going against who was it? Who was a big guy in your age? Wait a minute, I know it was Norm Van Brocklin. No, I'm just kidding.
Red Green.
No, I'm sorry, exactly. But if you were going against like a Troy Aikman, for example,
Sure.
right? So would you guys get more pumped up that you were going against that kind of a guy, a marquee name?
Well, it's hard not to. I mean, you know, when you, as a team, you know, again, we're not going against Troy. We're going against the Cowboys and all of the entourage that comes with him. And of course, they had a pretty good entourage,
right.
and I was fortunate to be entree to that for 1 year also. And it was unique to be on that side of the field. But I know being on the Lions side of the field, it was you know, an added motivation to try to perform better, work harder, practice better, lift more, all of those types of things to get yourself ready for Sunday.
All right. You gentlemen are part of history in this town, as you well know. The Lions have not won one playoff game since the late 50s, and you were there that day. Actually, we were all there, all 3 of us. I played. I didn't suit up. I was injured that day. But we're going to come back later. We're going to chat about that day, which was one of the most memorable days in Detroit sports history. So good seeing you. Stick around. We'll talk more about that day in 1991, the last time the Lions won a playoff game. Carmen, back to you.
Gosh, I certainly remember that. I remember those guys, but it's nice to hear them talk about it. In fact, Bernie, Lomas, and Eddie will be back a little later with their thoughts on this current Lions team and the sad shape of the Pontiac Silverdome, because that's where they used to play.
Yeah, you're right. But first, what is it like to be a player's wife? Watching your husband score touchdowns or getting thrown to the ground over and over again? Well, I caught up with Kelly Stafford and some of the other players' wives and girlfriends as they watched last week's game against the Vikings.
If they're anything like my daughter, they're shouting at the screen. You know, but how about those players? This game is huge for a team that is 0-2. It's Sunday night, it's prime time, it's the national spotlight, and as we said, the pressure's on.
Playing at home in Ford Field's a blast anyways, and being able to do it as a home opener on Sunday night. I've heard the fans be loud before. I'm expecting it to be the same.
And welcome back to Ready to Roar. We certainly hope the Lions are, huh?
Indeed. Good to have you with us, everybody. And we all know that Jim Caldwell's guys have the weight of the world on their shoulders heading into Sunday.
You know, but unlike seasons past, this team has a certain calm about them, never appearing to be rattled or overwhelmed. Jamie Edmonds has their story.
Well, the Lions have dug themselves in quite a hole. In fact, since 1990, only 24 of the 205 teams that have gone 0-2 have made the playoffs. But the Lions assure us they're not looking at these numbers.
We don't look at stats and those kinds of things, and I've never been concerned with them.
So we could care less what people say outside of here, outside these walls. You know, now I know y'all have heard that before, but you know, we understand the type of team that we are, and we just got to make sure that we stay on top of our game.
Is there a comfort level going home? You've been on the road in enemy territory now twice.
Right.
And things haven't really gone your way.
Right.
So is there a comfort level coming home?
I'm not really sure how to answer that. Like, we're excited to get home. It's not a comfort level because we still have to play the game, but we're excited to get home. We need all 65, 70,000 fans to really help us get this thing done.
Not only will our guys be juiced up, but the fans are really juiced up, especially for those night games.
Playing at home in Ford Field's a blast anyways, and being able to do it as a home opener on Sunday night. I've heard the fans be loud before. I'm expecting it to be the same.
Matthew Stafford stood on this podium and joked, if he's playing the game Madden, he'd create the perfect pass rusher between DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. Those guys are pretty good, so the Lions have to prepare for them, as well as that other good guy, Peyton Manning.
Shoot, I feel like I grew up watching him. Now I got to play against him. You know, it's he's been playing this game for a long time.
We have to kind of rattle Peyton a little bit, as hard as that may be. To do, we have to try our best to put him in some situations where he's not 100% comfortable.
Coach Caldwell says they'd be preparing for the Broncos the exact same way, even if they were 2-0. He says details matter and every play counts. They'll be going for win number 1 on Sunday night. In Allen Park, Jamie Edmonds, Local 4.
All right, thank you, Jamie. And we certainly hope they can put that magic, whatever it is,
That's right.
put it into action on Sunday night.
We need that win. We need it. All right, still to come on Ready to Roar, the women behind the men. Talking about the wives and girlfriends that have to be the strong ones when the players get home. But how do they do it?
I don't.
His first 2 years he was injured, and he had never been injured in college, so that was new for both of us. And it was the biggest lull he had ever been in for 2 years.
They are the women who play a huge supportive role for our Detroit Lions. I do know a little bit about this. They are the players' wives and their girlfriends.
That's right. You get probably a lot of stories from your daughter, I'm sure. I sat down with 4 of them for a very candid and open conversation about what it's like to be in a relationship with a professional football player.
Millions watch as their husbands make big plays on the football field on Sunday afternoons.
Everyone sees the money and the fame or whatever, but there's so much more that goes on behind that.
But the wives and girlfriends of the Detroit Lions have to be just as strong off the field as their popular husbands are on the field.
So do you guys prefer watching watching the game on TV?
I had a conversation with some of the players' wives, and one of the first things these women wanted me to know is that the life of professional athletes and their families is not all fun and games.
Every play you're worried about.
Yeah.
It could be, a career-ending play, which is bad to say, but you never know.
Right. Yeah.
I try not to let it consume me, but prayer, I pray with him before every game, so it's kind of like you got to pray and just watch, cross your fingers, and
hope for the best.
Hope for the best.
That's like legit the first thing when on game days I wake up and I pray about, because his first 2 years he was injured, and he had never been injured in college. So that was new for both of us. And it was the biggest lull he had ever been in for 2 years, and it was probably the worst time of our lives. So literally in the morning, every morning, game day, that's what I worry about.
And it's not just the threat of injury. Their husbands have a job to do, a job that keeps them busy nearly every day of the week, including weekends, for 7 months out of the year. And when their husbands have a bad day on the job, the wives have to know how to handle that.
And obviously, our boyfriends' husbands are very upset when they mess up.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's sports; it comes with the job, but they're just as hard as themselves.
They're human. They mess up, and
Matthew goes straight to his room,
really
locks
good.
the door,
Doesn't-
lays in bed.
Quiet night.
I bring him his dinner after the game. Like, it's not fun.
I feel like everyone remembers the bad kicks,
Yeah.
as opposed to the good ones. You
Yeah.
know, they don't remember the game winners or the good punts. They remember the, oh, he shanked that. Or
And nowadays, with social media, everyone's a critic. The wives have to deal with how their husbands react to that criticism, and oftentimes those critics don't mind letting their better halves know exactly what they think about their husbands.
It's sad to see just so many mean comments. It literally could be a picture of like a potato, and it'd be like, oh, well, you have a picture of potato, but you can't punt more than like 20 yards.
Our conversation then moved to what their husbands are like off the field.
My husband's kind of a dork. Like, he's kind of nerdy.
He's a great cook. That's good. Yeah, I really lucked out because I hate cooking and I don't do it. I clean. That's our deal.
He cooks.
But yeah, he cooks. I clean. He's unbelievable.
I want people to know that my husband is an awesome dad, an awesome husband, son, all that good stuff. He is really a great guy, and I think that football players lately it just
get a bad rap.
Yeah, they just haven't been getting too much love out there. So I love my guy, and I think he's like awesome. Awesome.
That was a good. Can we redo mine? That was so good.
He is all about some fashion, and that's his new thing. He's really getting into clothes and shoes. And he puts a lot of thought into his outfit when they go for away games.
Like when he gets dressed for game day, and I'm just like, who are you? Who are you? He's like in the mirror, checking himself out.
And what do the ladies and their husbands think about living in the D?
The only thing that I don't like are the Michigan lefts. I don't understand. What are those?
I love that Detroit's an underdog. And I say that in a positive way. I don't mean it in but obviously we've been here for 7 years, and the difference between the city today and the city 7 years ago is night and day.
The guys, I think, want this more for the city. Obviously, they want it for themselves. You know what I mean? Like the fans are so passionate. They're like dying for a championship with like the Lions, and I think that really motivates them. They want to win a championship for the city.
And they're just as ready as their husbands are for a win on Sunday night against the Denver Broncos.
I think it's really hard to open with Sunday night football at home. I think that's a lot of pressure in general. These guys already have enough pressure on them.
I'm just excited. I'm ready for a home game.
Yeah, I think we're all ready for a home game, and especially a win, and let's hope we can get that on Sunday night.
And they seem so down to earth, so normal.
They are very normal.
Right. You know, it's not every day you get a call from a renowned Hollywood director. What is it like to get a phone call from Steven Spielberg telling you?
Up next, Bill Ford Jr.'s reaction to the award given to him by the director and an up-close look at the lessons going on in area schools because of the Ford-Spielberg connection. Well, Bill Ford Jr. was honored by Steven Spielberg and the USC Shoah Foundation for his leadership and his corporate citizenship around education and the community.
That's right. He was here in the city of Detroit, and it was quite a night, Kimberly. But Bill is very humble about it. He was recognized at the gala at the Henry Ford earlier this month. Take a look.
So now it is my honor to present Bill Ford with the 2015 Ambassador for Humanity Award.
What is it like to get a phone call from Steven Spielberg telling you that you are the recipient of such an honor?
It's a little humbling. I mean, you know, I didn't know him. I've since gotten to know him, and he's actually a wonderful guy, and I love what he's doing. And he's an incredibly thoughtful person who really is giving back in a huge way. It was a huge honor because if you look at who else has been honored, you know, whether it was President Obama last year or President Clinton, and you kind of go down the list, it's quite a group. And so it was exceptionally humbling and also a great honor to be included in that group.
What sets Bill apart from the others, what makes him a true ambassador for humanity, is very simple. Every time he sees an opportunity to better himself and better the lives of those around him, he just gets up and he takes it.
It moved you spiritually.
It did, and well, you know, this eyewitness program that he has going on is really amazing because it started off getting the remembrances of Holocaust survivors, and now, of course, it's shifting as those people are, you know, unfortunately leaving us, and it's for any genocide that's going on, whether it's Rwanda or Cambodia or anywhere else in the world. They are capturing the stories of the people there in hopes of helping transform world knowledge.
The disapproval was only silence, and silence is what did the harm.
That's an example of what people can hear on Eyewitness. It's an educational website developed by the USC Shoah Foundation. It gives us access to 1,500 full-life histories and testimonies from survivors and witnesses to the Holocaust and other genocides. Ford is supporting Eyewitness Detroit, bringing the multimedia learning activities to students in the area.
We're doing it in our schools, and we're starting actually at the Henry Ford Academy in the Henry Ford Museum, and that will be the pilot, but then we're going to take it out to other schools in Detroit and in the Detroit area.
Volunteering is something that you push your employees to do, encourage them to do. Why?
Well, the interesting thing is we're not really pushing them. They kind of pushed us, which I think is awesome. Because what happened was back in the in the late 90s, there was a terrible earthquake in Turkey. And I asked our employees for help, and I was overwhelmed by how much help was offered. And same thing when the tsunami hit Southeast Asia in 2004. So it struck me that we needed to find a way to give our people an outlet for this kind of volunteerism that they all clearly had. And so that's why I formed the Volunteer Corps, to turn them loose on big projects like the ones I described, but also small ones like fixing a garden in Detroit, or building a fence around a pretty playground in Inkster. I mean, our employees love doing this, and I think as individuals we get back 10 times what we put into it.
1, 2, 3! Yeah!
The UAW actually came to me with the idea of honoring my father, which I was really touched by. And so it was a field in Detroit that was in disrepair, and together we helped fix it up, and it's wonderful now, and they chose to name it after my dad, which I thought was really touching.
When you look at the company, where do you see Ford Motor Company going?
Well, I love the fact that it's still a family company after well over 100 years. To me, it's really unusual, and it's incredibly gratifying, and I'd like to see it continue into the next generation, and I think it will. I also love the fact that we got through the darkest days this industry has ever seen in 08, 09 without going bankrupt, without taking a bailout, and with repaying our debts. To me, that was great. But now we're poised for a very different kind of future. We will still be making cars and trucks like we always have, but we're in a world now of car sharing, ride sharing, autonomous driving, all the new technology that's coming into vehicles. So we're busy sorting out how we play in that new world and how we can lead in that new world. And so to me, it's incredibly exciting. It's a huge opportunity if we get it right.
And they plan on getting it right. But I can tell you that he was moved emotionally that night of the Shoah Foundation Award. And, music, cars, they've always been a part of the city of Detroit.
Absolutely.
And thanks to the Ford family, football will be too.
Yeah,
for
indeed.
many generations
Indeed.
to come.
And it's an exciting time for our city as well, Carmen. Well, if you've watched our newscast, you've seen the reports about people upset with the city because a blighted home in their neighborhood hasn't been torn down. Well, there's good news to report, and that's progress.
The Mary Grove community was slowly being eaten away by blighted and abandoned homes when the city stepped in and demolished some 25 houses. Boy, that's a lot. Our Karen Drew takes us there to see the changes.
This is the Mary Grove neighborhood on the city's west side, just off of Wyoming and McNichols. Jay Meeks is a new resident here. He bought his home about a year ago on auction.
I believe in the power of people to actually shape, mold, and change their environment. So I put my my money where my thoughts were.
Meeks took us on a drive. All of these were eyesores.
Yes, an open eyesores.
Showing us all the homes that had been torn down recently, where decay, drugs, and crime once stood, is now an empty lot. When those homes came down, other changes occurred.
I've definitely seen some positive developments in terms of street lights being on, houses being torn down, streets being repaved, trash collections, things like that that matter.
That's the main goal of the program as we have it right now, is to make sure that we're giving people a reason to stay by addressing the blight in very populated neighborhoods.
I think that they are doing a great job.
That's Amber Atkins, a newlywed who decided she wanted to move into this Mary Grove neighborhood.
The abandoned houses being torn down, that in itself is more than we could ever ask for, because it just really is an eyesore.
I've lived here since 1967. We moved here 2 weeks after the Detroit riot.
When you talk about demolition, you also need to talk to the longtime residents of the neighborhood, folks like Lenora Hall.
It's not happening fast enough. It seems as though the decline happened faster than the rehab.
Lenora says she appreciates the blight gone, but now has another concern.
I don't know what we can do with the vacant lands yet, the lots, whether we can buy them and as a community group put something on them.
How much would something like that go for?
$100.
No.
Yeah, we'll sell it to them. We'll sell a vacant lot like this to the next door neighbor for $100.
Whoa.
And it's just one less lot that we need to maintain, and this way they get to expand their property.
So far, the city has sold 1,600 of these side lots for $100 each, and make sure the taxes and any liens are removed from the property. Meeks believes he made a good investment. He spent $8,100 to purchase the home on auction. Now it's been recently appraised at $50,000. Now he just wants more people to do what he's doing, invest in Detroit. Karen Drew, Local 4.
That's right. So many more neighborhoods that need that kind of attention. Still to come on Ready to Roar, Lomas Brown, Eddie Murray, and Bernie return for a chat about the glory years for the Detroit Lions. Bernie?
You remember that run you had against Dallas? Nope.
Carmen, look who we got. Eddie Murray and Lomas Brown. We're going to chat with them about the Lions' last playoff win. They were there. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Welcome back to Ready to Roar. You know, the Lions are coming off a playoff season and have the postseason in mind this year as well, even if they are 0-2.
Yeah, and while it might be easier said than done, it's what they have to believe, just as they did back in the 1991 season. That's the year that the Lions won a playoff game when Wayne Fonts and his team got within a game of the Super Bowl.
They did.
Bernie has more with Lomas Brown and Eddie Murray, two stars of that team. Bernie?
All right, Kimberly, we are back with Lomas Brown, Eddie Murray, two former Lions who were here on that fateful day, January 1992, the last time the Lions won a playoff game in this town. Wow. Before then was the late 50s. I mean, that's a mind-boggling stat when you think about it. Lions, of course, one of a few teams that have not been to the Super Bowl. Right. What are your thoughts? What do you remember of that day, that morning waking up? And Wayne Fonts was leading the band as he did during that period.
Well, I just know for us, we just finished off a great 12-4 season. The only vivid memory I have is I remember being on the sideline trying to talk to Jim Arnold about something during the game, and I was having to yell at him because it was so loud. It was the loudest I've ever heard any stadium ever.
When you have that kind of an atmosphere, do you have to settle yourself a little bit, or does that first hit settle you?
Oh yeah, that first hit will get you settled, man. Yeah, you get hit across the head. It does wonders for you, Bernie. It does wonders for settling you down.
I remember my dad used to do that to me. It did wonders for me. Exactly. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I wish I'd worn a helmet.
Right.
And how was Barry? Because Barry is sort of that all the time, right? He's always quiet.
Money. What I always remember before every game, man, we walking out to go get ready for the game. You got to wake Barry up. Come on, man. He's
sleeping.
I don't see how
he'll take a little nap at halftime. He'll be laying down and he'd have his clothes over his head and stuff like that. And I'm going, well, this is a big game. I'm kind of excited.
Right. And when did they deflate the footballs? Was it really early? No, I'm sorry, I had the wrong team. There was an amazing moment in that game, a Barry Sanders run. I know you were on the field and you watched from the sidelines. Sure. Give me your impressions of what you remember from that moment.
Well, really, it bounced and went to the right, so I was coming on the backside, and all I remember was B just getting hit like that, just stopping still. And I'm thinking, okay, the play is going to be over. And the next thing I know, he bounces back, makes another cut, and you see Tony Casillas just standing there. And B just cut and just shifted. And the only thing I seen was a 2-0 from that point on. And, you know, as a big fella, if you look at a lot of his runs, I'm just behind. I'm a big cheerleader, just running behind, just observing the greatness.
You're fading in the distance.
Absolutely.
You're getting smaller and smaller.
The thing about Dallas, they were that three-headed monster with Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman and
Jay Novacek.
The big offensive line.
They always had that.
Absolutely.
Well, as much as we established the run, we took the run away from them. Because that's exactly how they were very similar to us. They built the whole offense around Emmitt. Having 2 years later going to play with them, I saw how they did it. I mean, that's how it was. They based their whole game plan off of how well Emmitt was going to do, because if Troy wasn't going to have a great passing game unless Emmitt was running the ball.
Yep, right there. There's your 2 years later.
Right.
Yes.
Hey, you had to go out of town. Come on, show yours. Let's get them all
That's
here.
another team. That's Tampa Bay.
Here, let me show you mine. Stop it. What are your feelings on the Silverdome? I mean, it's kind of like you know, a sort of an empty shell at this point. It's just sort of sitting out there with all these great memories just sort of floating away.
It's a little bittersweet because, you know, you would hope that, you know, maybe it could be used and still kept in some decent shape where it could be used for other multi-purpose events. And for it to just, you know, have the roof down and the weather and the elements are really taking its toll on the interior, you know, it's really bittersweet.
They hold so many memories. If you think about all the great players that have played for the organization, and we've had some great players. I mean, you look at all the Hall of Famers that's played there, and the Silverdome was part of that and stuff. So I wish we could have honored it the right way and maybe even honored the 91 team, since that was the team that's done the most right now. Even though that's sad to say, Bernie, we got to change that. We really do. We have to change that script. We got to take it to the next level as a team, but it would have been nice to commemorate.
Anyway, great memories. Great seeing you guys. You know, we'll see you Sunday night, I'm sure, down here. I'll see you on Final Edition Sunday night, too. We got a big night here. Great seeing you, Eddie.
Thank you again.
All right, Kimberly, back to you.
All right, yeah, we definitely need to take it to the next level. That's right. Thanks a lot, Bernie.
Well, we told you he wasn't really retiring. In fact, we weren't kidding. Chuck Gatica joined us next. Chuck, where are you? With the scoop on his new gig here on Local 4. Chuck Gatica signed off from weather last year, but he has remained a big part of the Local 4 family with his force for good reports and helping us cover big events, from the fireworks to America's Thanksgiving parade. But guess what? Beginning this Monday, you can see Chuck every morning at 10 a.m. as one of the new hosts on Live in the D. And now he's with me tonight. Chuck,
you can?
Holy cow. I knew it. I knew you couldn't stay away.
Oh, well, I missed you, that's for sure. I missed the guys.
Let's talk about your new role.
Yeah.
What brought you back?
Well, Live in the D has been a wonderful show. I've been able to substitute host, you know, every once in a while. And so now there are going to be a few changes. We have a new co-host, Tati Abra, is joining the team. She and I will be co-hosting the show live every morning at 10 a.m. And so that's not a big change if you think about my career in Detroit. I was part of morning radio for decades, you know, so I've always been getting up early, and that's fun. But the why question, I think I love our city. I love the fact that there's a lot going on. There's this earthquake of cool stuff that's happening. And I thought, how could it be bad to be part of a show that's super positive, highlighting great fun things. We're going to have fun with cooking and fashion, and you know I dance at weddings. You know how I can do the sprinkler.
And so that's some of what we're going to expect. What else can we expect?
Well, we can expect a lot of fun and energy from new contributors. We've got a new look to the show. We're moving to 10 a.m., so we're coming right out of the Today Show live. And I think if we can become appointment TV, what I'm hoping is that we're a comfortable place where people who are home, 10 a.m. in the morning live, Michael and Kelly, Regis and Kathy Lee have set the bar. And I think that's the kind of show we're hoping for, a very comfortable, lifestyle-oriented.
So we've got
So it's going to be fun.
Chuck and Tati
Yes,
Amara.
every morning.
Tell us about her. Who is she? Where's
She is from New York, from Brooklyn, and she is a delightful person. She's wonderful to work with, and I think we're going to have a really good time. Our chemistry is great. We've been in rehearsals all week. We've actually toured the city together in many places. And there's this train station that's running from New York and Brooklyn to Detroit. High capacity, highly talented, artistic people who are coming to Detroit from New York. We're not giving people up that way as much, and I think that's pretty cool. So I don't know that she wants me to drop her into that bucket of people, but I think she's one of those folks that's coming our way, and I think Detroit's going to be better for her.
You didn't have to sell her on Detroit.
No,
she
loves it.
Moved here too.
Yeah, she's moving into the city.
So, I mean, you're still a minister. Ministry is still very important to you.
Yes, I'm still going to be doing ministry. I'm still looking at doing Force for Good, and what life has turned into for me is the ability to not only highlight on Local 4 people who are becoming a force for good, but I go out nearly every day encouraging people, listen, I'm trying to be a force for good. Come with me and do that. So hopefully that will come through the show live in the D as well. So it's going to be fun.
You can believe that. And again, you can catch Chuck on Live in the D starting this Monday at 10 a.m. Good luck.
Oh, thanks.
I will be watching.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. Look,
oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness. Wait a minute. They're giving me gifts already? I haven't even started the show.
You're going to take the bike, are you?
This is a new way that you can show off your Detroit Lions pride here.
Cool.
Shinola has a new limited edition line of Lions branded products, including this bicycle here in Honolulu Blue.
This looks expensive, doesn't it?
It's very nice. So it's got a little ball on it there that you
let's
can see. Single speed
there you go.
bike there.
You've done that before.
Well, I don't know. It's maybe not as manly a bell as I would like.
We know Shinola for watches. Right?
That's right. And they've got some beautiful ones over here that we'll show you guys at home. The one with the blue dial. The other with the black dial, just very nice. All of them have an embossed Detroit Lions logo on the band too. And we've got this guy
That's
here.
That's the Golden Bear jacket.
You're familiar with this one.
Yes, but I mean, feel this leather.
Oh, it's
this
very
is
nice.
like butter. Oh
very
my God.
nice here. And you can see the Detroit logo, Detroit Lions logo
Well,
there.
you know, they
on the
also
side.
have a journal over there that's leather bound too. That's really nice.
Really nice. A great way to show off your pride.
If you go to their store, you wander around, and it's one of those stores where, well, I have to admit, I have one or two. But I mean, I just love the store. I love going in because you get the leather scent, and you look at all the stuff. Look at the seats and even the hand grips.
So much
are leather. Oh man, this is awesome.
It's so well made.
Yeah.
You know, I could just lift the kickstand.
Well, if we
and
weren't on the
take
roof, you know, you have to be careful because we don't want to make, we don't have any trouble.
Well, this is actually the first time that Shinola has had produced licensed product for the NFL. So
Very
it's
cool.
very nice to show off your pride.
May I,
here.
while you're finishing
Here,
the show, because
go
I'm
ahead.
just
You
an
wanna try that
interloper
on?
here in the on the show. I just want to see how it actually fits. Because you never know if Mrs. Gatica would actually let me have a Golden Bear
Looks like
jacket.
it might be your size, Chuck.
It could be. It could be a really good fit. I can tell you, the leather is like butter. Oh, look, this is a great jacket. All right, what do you think?
So very
All
nice.
right, we want to thank you so much for
Very nice,
joining
Chuck.
us for Ready to Roar. Don't forget, we've got a big Sunday night for you, and it all starts with a special hour-long Local 4 News at 6.
Followed by Football Night in America, and then, of course, Lions versus the Broncos. Kickoff is set for 8:30. And then after the game, don't miss Local 4 News at 11, and Bernie Smilovitz, Jamie Edmonds, Lomas Brown, all will have the Lions post-game reaction.
All right, we want to say all together now, go
Lions!
Lions!
Yeah.
All right, good night.